So welcome to the second episode of the LOUNGECAST podcast. I'm here with Adam and Leon. So basically, we had a bit of a mix-up last week. Adam came back from his zoo trip for the second episode, and then he decided to fuck everything up by having a shit microphone, and therefore we couldn't actually put the recording out because the quality was so bad.
It wasn't my fault.
All my zoo stuff's going to be gone now. Like all the stuff that I was
I
saying
know,
about
I can't
the zoo,
believe
all
that
the
I
stuff
defended
about
it.
the TV shows that we
I
were
defended it so well,
watching that was
and no
shite
one's
as
ever
well.
going to hear that.
Well, what we can do is there are parts of it that are, you can listen to them, but there are parts which are really, really bad. But there might be possible bits we can cut.
Yeah, there might be
just edit
bits
in
we
here
can, like,
now
segment.
for you viewers to hear. We'll put in any little snippets which we thought were quite funny, and then we'll cut back to the discussion.
I'll have to go over it and look because the echo was terrible. I don't have Logic and I don't really know wave frequencies that well to like single them out and chop them out. 'Cause that's what people tend to do.
I've got Logic on my Mac actually, so
Yeah,
I could
that's
possibly chuck
when I
in
spoke
there.
to my mate about it because he knows music shit and he uses Logic to produce soundtracks for our films. He was saying that I could have asked him and he could have tried to listen to the frequency, but the problem is that the echo wasn't just there when B-Man wasn't talking; it was there while he was. So I don't know how you would get rid of the echo without making B-Man sound really tinny.
Yeah, it would be very hard to do, and because it was sort of bouncing off our voices as well and echoing us, so it wasn't just like one specific track, it was all of them merged.
It was all of them merged and it was out of sync because it was at a different bit rate, so it was just a huge mess. But there's probably some parts
in the
which are
first
salvageable.
episode Adam wasn't here, and in the second episode he fucked it up so we couldn't even put it out.
Yeah, crash
So-
and burn, B-Man, crash and burn.
This is his chance to
This is
redeem
a fresh
himself. Adam,
start.
This is the redemption.
give yourself a little introduction and explain to the viewers why you're sorry for fucking up the first 2 weeks.
Right, well, the first week, I didn't fuck it up. Right, there was just a miscommunication. You guys said that we were starting at 3, but I never heard about that. My plan, I always thought we were going to do it in the evening, which is why there was no rush getting back from the zoo.
Well, that was the original plan until we found out you took a day off work, and then we were like, right, so we don't have to all hold out our own days. We can now
But I had
push
the day,
everything
I
forward
had the
and
day
go
off
about
work
our
to go
days.
to the zoo. Though.
Yeah, but then when you got back from the zoo, you fucking jumped in your whip and just zerged it to Rico's house like, I'm here, boys. Let's do
Yeah.
the
You went
podcast.
to
and we
KFC.
actually finished it. Like, you had no idea. Like, yeah,
You went
what
to
are you playing
KFC.
Well, that's
then
because I
to
had to
watch the episode.
I had to stop at Curry's anyway, didn't I?
at? Went to KFC, got yam, watched the episode, finished the episode, got in his whip, bombed it down the M4, bombed it to Rico's house, and then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
I was in a rush. I was
also-
trying to do it as early as possible. I just sent a message saying, come in now, and then just left. I didn't even wait and see a reply. Just left. And then when I got there,
Right.
I saw it saying, I'm on the train.
And for last week, as you literally just said, you bought a microphone. You had an extra week to prepare. You didn't even take it out and check it. You said, "Oh, I'm so happy to do this podcast. I'm so motivated to do it. I really want to do it." You can't even be bothered to get the microphone out and check what the quality is like.
No, it's
And
not
to see
wasn't
if
to
it
do
even
with the
works.
quality. It's the bloody... I didn't realise that
That's
Macs
hard.
didn't have a microphone thing in it.
Mate,
Which
what?
is daft, isn't it? They don't have a microphone like port, do they? To put a microphone, they just have the
USBs or like the
You
Thunderbolt.
have to have
ones or whatever.
You have to buy a converter. But,
Yeah, I know, well, I
you would have
didn't.
known this.
I mean,
if
it's
you took it out
Apple.
and
Apple
tried to
always
test it
gonna make
beforehand.
you
Yeah,
buy
well, you-
unnecessary proprietary bullshit just so that you give them more money.
You
Right.
live and you learn, guys. You live and you learn.
You don't buy Apple products. That's what you learn. If you want to be able to use your technology with other things across like different manufacturers, you don't buy Apple because they want you to just stay in their ecosystem. So that's why I don't necessarily get involved in it.
Well, should we get cracking? It's been 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, let's go. So
Go on then, first.
one thing
first
I'm
on the
going to start
agenda.
with my big point that something that I saw in the episode is when they arrived. When they go back to Winterfell and Sansa's doing like the rounds and talking about all the stuff they're preparing, like they don't have enough food in case everybody comes back to Winterfell and they're making the armor wrong and whatever. There was one thing that I did notice. They don't really show too much about it, but that maester who was there mentioned that the previous maester, I think that was the one that Theon killed. I think it was Maester, was it
Lewin.
Lewin or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept a record of every single raven that was sent to Winterfell. So at the very, very beginning of Game of Thrones, the whole thing kicks off because Catelyn Stark's sister sends a raven to her saying, the Lannisters have poisoned my husband, don't trust them. the king's in danger because they're plotting to take the throne or whatever, Sansa finds out from Lysa that she actually poisoned her own husband because Littlefinger wanted her to. So there is clear evidence here of Littlefinger being involved in instigating this all. And in that episode, he shows that like he pays attention and like looks at the guy because he knows that potentially will expose him for setting the whole thing up.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah,
that was something. That was something that I picked up
looking
on. The other Maester. I can't remember the name of the Maester. It was the one. Do you remember when Ramsay killed his dad and he was like, "Oh, you need to call me like your lord or whatever." That guy.
I think so, and he just walked out of the room.
Yeah, that person. He essentially said there's records of every Raven that's arrived, and obviously Peter Baelish is going to need to find those records, and if there is any mention of that Raven, need to destroy it entirely or just that excerpt.
Well,
One thing that is like you need to remember from that episode though was that when the Raven arrived, Catelyn wouldn't let anybody else see what the Raven said except from when she reread what it said in front of Ned and the Maester. So the Maester knew the contents of the letter. So
and that would explain why Littlefinger is hanging around as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because he would want to destroy that because that's something that will expose him. Another thing as well that helps expose him is that weird encounter that Bran has with Sansa when he comes back, and he talks about seeing her on her wedding day, and she gets really she starts reliving the wedding because obviously Ramsay rapes her. It also serves to remind the fact that it was Littlefinger that arranged that. So if she did discover this letter, then this is something that she could use to expose him and convince other people if she ever needed to.
I feel like they know anyway, because none of them really trust him, do they?
No one really trusts him, but no one has enough probable cause to out him in public, if you know what I mean. Everyone sort of dislikes him, but not in a way where they could justify doing something to him, if you get what I mean. Like they all know that he's involved in stuff, but they don't have enough evidence to clearly state okay, this is proof that you did this and that you've got your fingers involved in this. Whereas that's fairly incriminating, that letter, because Sansa knows that. Well, Sansa has been told by her aunt that she killed her own husband because of Littlefinger. But this will prove what her aunt was saying to her, essentially.
That was such a weird meeting with Bran.
It was very bizarre.
The chemistry between them, it was so weird. They haven't seen each other in so long, and then it was just it wasn't hostile, but it was sort of frosty in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Bran just didn't explain when he was like, "I'm the three-eyed raven now," and she's like, "What is that? Explain to me." And he's like, no, what does he say? He was like, I am the raven now, but also it was passed to me. She's like, "How does that work?" Kind of thing. And it's just why doesn't he just explain that
instead of being cryptic? Say, "This is what happened to me. This is what happened to the old
what happened.
guy."
I went to saw the old guy and the children and everything.
I don't know.
Do you reckon that old guy was like Bran in the future or something?
No, I think that old guy is actually a Targaryen bastard from one of the short stories. I can't remember what his name is, but he ends up becoming the three-eyed raven.
So what is the point of the three-eyed raven? What's the overall?
Well, George R. R. Martin has a weird. Well, it's not a weird thing. It's like a trope in his stories. He's actually a science fiction writer, where he likes the idea of shared consciousness and connected, mentally connected people. It's sometimes in his stories he'll use it as a way of aliens invading and taking control of people by making a sort of hive mind where they all belong to something bigger than themselves. And that's what the children of the forest and all the weirwood trees are part of. So I guess the three-eyed raven is the human being added to that system type thing.
Also, wasn't he leant up against one of the trees, and when she was asking him about what does all this mean, he could have just touched that tree and made his eyes roll back.
Yeah, but if you were oh, by the way, I can do this weird magic shit, and you rolled your eyes back of your head, I would just say you just roll your eyes to the back of your head. I wouldn't necessarily think that you could just do some crazy shit.
Yeah, he could just go into
But
he
could
could
just
walk into a bird
and then bring it
down.
down.
He could have done. I think genuinely that's something that people would say is why didn't he actually show off his walking abilities?
So last episode, that we didn't release, but we were saying how it's moving so quickly now, and that they're pretty much covering everybody. This was an episode where Arya wasn't in it at all.
Yep,
so that's interesting.
So that's who I thought was going to be there. I don't
know. She'll be there end of next episode probably. Just turn up,
or unless she
because time's still moving. like for
I reckon she's going to run into Gendry and then bring him back to Winterfell. Then they're going to be like, yeah, the new king.
So this is because again, last episode which you missed,
Just
we
gonna
said it would
bypass
be
that
hilarious if Gendry bumped into Theon
Yeah.
after he jumped over, and he just bumps into Gendry.
Yeah.
So who pulls Theon out of the water then?
I'm
Dave.
assuming it's Ironborn that are loyal
Are they
to
more
Daenerys
Ironborn?
still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of like Yara's fleet, I'm assuming.
Okay.
And obviously they just don't give a shit about him really, because he like left his sister. Although for them they'd prefer him to have fought and died rather than try and save himself.
Honourable death.
Yeah, I mean it's like the sensible thing to do, and it fits the character for him to run away. Obviously in their like ideology and their mentality, it's the wrong thing to do.
But we haven't even spoken about the long opening scene with Daenerys and Jon. And how
yeah,
That
Okay.
wasn't exactly how people thought it would play out, is it?
It's more how I wanted it to play out.
I think
I didn't
Yeah,
want
I
it to
was
be
good.
all like everything was fine type thing. I wanted it to be
It wasn't
a
going
little.
to be like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't want it to be this thing where like they realised, oh, we need each other type stuff. Let's strike up this partnership sort of thing. I like the fact that they are somewhat hostile to each other.
Well,
I
it
do.
had to be because they're both powerful leaders. Like it was never going to be an easy sort of, well, not like reunion, but like an easy way to group together and
Yeah.
this is what we need to do. That like as we said before, like Jon doesn't want to actually bend the knee because
He doesn't want to fight in the war. He doesn't want to.
yeah,
he doesn't want to
doesn't-
come
he
down
doesn't
south
care.
and fight Cersei. He doesn't give a shit.
it's so frustrating, like that whole White Walker business that nobody even like cares about. It.
Yeah,
Not that
do
they
you
don't
honestly,
believe it,
do
I'm sure they
do you know what I
do,
think
but-
is going to happen? I think this fight is going to end up at a stalemate in the south, and literally Jon's going to have to go kidnap a white or an actual White Walker and bring it down south and be like, look. I think that's the only way they're really going to get people to be like, okay, we need to stop fighting and actually do something about this.
It's just so frustrating, isn't it? Like knowing that the White Walkers are coming, and that Jon's just like trying to tell everybody and try and spread the word, and nobody believes him really.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a hard-
I can understand. It's understandable to see why they wouldn't, but it's weird to believe that there's this woman who, through some other weird bullshit magic, hatched 3 dragons, and this guy comes down and is like, by the way, there's these undead creatures, and she's like, no, like, don't believe it. And, it's
But
like,
then
and he
again,
just
like-
literally looks outside
no.
and says, there's 3 dragons out there, but these weird dead things coming back, that's too far for you to,
But you can
even
you
consider.
can see why it's not in her
Yeah,
in
no, I
her
can
mind
s-
at the moment, because she's finally got over now, and now it's like let's march our army the other way, even though half her army's already just been destroyed.
Yeah, she's
Al-
losing.
also,
Yeah,
she's
she's-
losing
that-
so bad.
Where the
She
dragon
is.
flew past, I thought there was going to be. I was hoping there was going to be some sort of connection between the dragons. Like the dragon like flies past and then sort of stops, flies back, and sort of looks at Jon because that Targaryen link. It's sort of like
Yeah.
bonding with him. I was hoping there might be some subtle connection because Game of Thrones, they like to do that. They don't like to say things, but they like to sort of show sort of stuff that could possibly happen later on. So I thought when the dragon came past and he ducked, I was like hoping that it was maybe gonna not bow down, but maybe dip
Just
its
look
head
at him.
and just see
Look
what's
in his
going on.
eyes.
Yeah, like acknowledge his presence. They're just like
Yeah,
flying
exactly.
away type thing. Yeah, okay, I can see that. But they
Which
probably
could
will
still
do that
happen.
after it gets exposed that he is half Stark, half Targaryen.
And I don't know why Bran should have just said that to Sansa straight away. He should have just been like, our boy Jon.
I think that'd be more disruptive if that was the case. If like I knew that about someone, you'd want to tell them first. You don't know who Sansa's going to tell. Like
Yeah,
he hasn't
true,
seen
but,
his
but,
sister
like,
in
it's
ages.
still family, isn't it? Like, if he's not there, you'd still tell your brother or your sister. You'd be like, I found out some news which is very important.
Yeah, I just don't think he's seen
I think
Sansa in a while, and
Bran's
his
just an
memory of
odd
her is
kid.
her as a little girl, and think that oh shit, if she knew this, she'd just be an absolute dickhead about it, and just piss off Jon about it. Because that's what she was like when she was younger in the show. She was way more annoying. So that's what he remembers her as, being well
Yeah, it's
annoying
true.
and difficult to deal with.
Yeah,
Right.
I said last week, we said about something happening with Jon when he goes to see Daenerys, and that Sansa's going to end up holding the North probably for quite a while. And like she's already doing a good job of it, isn't she? Like Littlefinger was saying. So I reckon that will
Littlefinger's one in
happen.
her ear, yeah. Like she knows what she's doing, and she's thinking, about all the little things that all add up to the big thing that is them surviving and hopefully pushing back the White Walkers.
She was
Like,
always going to be good because
Yeah.
her parents, her mum and dad, were like such strong characters, such strong people and leaders within the storyline. So she was always going to have the ability to lead it, which is good because we did say that we reckon she would. But it will be interesting to see what happens when Arya comes back, and then you've got the three actual Starks there, and what are they going to do? What's their plan? Because obviously Arya still wants to go off and complete her list, but now she's sort of in the bigger game. Just she can't go on her own personal vendetta.
Yeah.
So I wonder what her role will now play. Will she go down? Will she stay?
I think she'll go back up north. I know she is a character who in the books is meant to like John a lot more than is given off in the show. So I think she'll go back north thinking like, I'm going to go see him. If my family's here, I want to see them.
Yeah, but I mean, like afterwards, like, is she going to just go on with a personal vendetta, or is she going to like help fight the White Walkers? Like, what's her role going to be?
I think to be honest, I think she's going to end up being embroiled in this Littlefinger thing. I think she's going to. Did she see Littlefinger betray Ned? I can't remember if she saw that in season 1.
No, because it was inside, wasn't it, the main hall?
Yeah, I don't know if she was like around or she heard anything from then, but she would know not to trust him, I imagine. And I think all these little things they're dropping is going to be this combination of where these two sisters are going to team up to like make him confess the stuff that he's done and eventually get rid of him. I think he's not going to like live to the end of season 7.
No.
How many episodes have we got left? Have we got?
Is it 4? Haven't we?
We're like
7
halfway
seasons,
through
or
already.
is it 7 seasons? Is it 7 episodes or is it 8?
I don't know. I always thought it was 8, but you guys were saying 7.
I thought it was 7 for some reason. I must have but I did read that like ages ago. So whether that was just reported and that hasn't actually been confirmed.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he'll actually. If the White Walkers are going to be the last season, I don't think Baelish will be around when they come. I think Arya will deal with him by the end of season 7.
I think the White Walkers are going to need about 3 or 4 episodes. For that
if
battle.
season 8 is only 5, then I imagine the entire season will be dealing with the White Walkers, and the last episode will be whatever the like conclusion to that is.
I keep seeing this image, which is who's the guy who comes back to life? Derek Dondarrion or something.
Derek Dondarrion, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
What do you call
I
him?
keep seeing Derek Dondarrion. I keep seeing him, a picture with him with his sword on fire, like a screenshot of that floating around. So I'm assuming that's because he's going up to East Point by the Sea, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think that'll be like the end of season 7. Like that.
So there is going to be a White Walker battle.
Yeah, I reckon there'll be
season.
some sort of scrapping with the White Walkers. But I think it'll be predominantly this season will be to do with the war going on in the south.
I reckon though, even in like the next episode or next couple of episodes, it might be showing some White Walker stuff up where that crazy ginger guy is, the wildling guy.
Yeah,
he's gone to the one by the sea, hasn't he?
Yeah,
which is where they're going to target.
Yeah,
I reckon something could happen in the next couple of episodes with that.
Yeah, I think that'll be towards the. I don't think it'll be next episode. I have a feeling it will probably be towards the end of this season that the White Walker stuff will start creeping in. I think at the moment it seems to be more of them actually establishing the fact that there is a threat up north, which no one will believe in because it's unseen, and they need to make it seen. I generally do think that somebody, if it's not John or somebody sent by him, is going to have to capture one and bring it back. That might be what they're trying to do at the end of the season. And when they go to capture one, there's just loads of them. I'm not sure, but they need to show the people down south that this is real because they're going to need their help. Like it'd be so much more effective the more human people you have alive to actually fight them, rather than just squabbling over the throne.
Because the White Walkers are just going to attack, but all the armies are going to be depleted because of the fighting they've just done.
Yeah, and all the people that they kill up north will come back as White Walkers as well. So it's just more people they have to fight. So it's like literally them losing means there's more soldiers for them to raise up, essentially. So I think the quicker they, capture one and bring it down and like, look, we need to stop fighting. It doesn't matter because we have to deal with this. Then And then if one of the people who decides not to fight betrays them all and it causes them all to lose, then that's fine, because that's just, that would be very Game of Thrones, I find. If they all decide not to fight and then at the end Cersei just betrays them all. And then because of that, the White Walkers end up winning. I'd be cool with that.
I'd be happy with the White Walkers winning. Just the end of the show. That's perfectly fine with me.
Mm-hmm. I think the war in the south is definitely happening really, really fast. And
we get to see Castle Rock finally, don't we?
We got to see Highgarden as well. I can't believe how fast everything's going on. But speaking about Highgarden, I really, really liked Olenna Tyrell's last scene.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
I think it was good.
And it's more set up as well, because last episode, which B-Man fucked up, I suggested that, Jaime's probably going to be the one to end up killing Cersei. Yeah. I think this is even... This adds to it, because with her admitting that she poisoned Joffrey, he has, now without doubt, that Tyrion was not involved in Joffrey's murder, that his father was going to send him when he was innocent to die anyway, and he's going to try and get Cersei to be like, Tyrion's actually innocent. Cersei's not going to listen to him, obviously. She just hates him. But I think that's going to drive them further apart. Even more so than Euron's already doing. Because Euron's already messing with Jaime's head. He's already getting in there and making him... I really do like Euron's character. I think
such a good character.
I think he's come along a lot more nicely than he did the previous season.
And as vile and sad as it is, I was so happy with the scene with the Sands in the prison.
Oh yeah, no, the Queen's Justice. That is literally the Queen's Justice. And that's annoying as well because Ilaria Sand, the Sand Snakes themselves, I think were quite shit characters. But that actress that plays Ilaria Sand, I do think is actually really good. She was in a previous, I think it was a HBO series called Rome. She was in that as well, and she was really good in that. That one scene, even though I don't really like her, I could understand and sort of empathise with her. And I think she acted really well when she was eye to eye with Cersei, and she has to watch her daughter die, knowing that she's gonna die. She can't do anything about it.
I think I love the way Cersei deals with everything is basically how she's
outplaying everyone. She's absolutely outplaying
the bit with where she's pouring the wine on the woman's head because the woman used to pour the water on her and go repent or whatever. Not repent. What did she say? Shame. Yeah. And all that.
Cersei's just too good. She's outplaying everyone, but I think at this point her downfall probably will be Jaime.
Well, is that her outplaying everyone, or is that Jaime outplaying everyone?
No, I think it's her because she's the one that's setting it up. It's her telling them where to go. Originally, I thought they were going to send all their boys to Castle Rock. When they stormed it and took it, they took it way too easily. And it's because, no, they're going to Highgarden, because Highgarden have got all the food, they got all the money, and if they've got the Tarly, who's a large part of their standing army on their side...
They do.
Which the Lannisters do now.
You see them marching, don't you?
Yeah.
Next to them all.
They just literally just take the place, don't put up huge much of a fight, and they can pay off the Iron Bank now because they've got all that gold, pay off their debts, and now the Iron Bank will be supporting them. So everything's going really well for the Lannisters, almost too well, if you will. I do think Jaime's being set up to eventually have to remove her. There's all the signs of that Cersei's going mad with power, not necessarily to the same extent as the Mad King. She has been twisted by the world, and now she's trying to twist it to make it her make sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, you never have much sympathy for her, do you, because of what she does? But she has actually gone through so much, and
she's gone through a lot, and
kids killed for starters.
All her kids are gone. She ended up married to a man that never loved her.
Prisoner, marched through the streets
naked, beaten up. Almost committed suicide when she thought that Stannis was gonna win the war and take King's Landing. All that stuff. She has been through a lot, but she has been a massive dickhead to loads of other people.
I liked all those references between Davos and Tyrion about being on the other side of the war.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like the humour that they're dropping in, every now and then, with when Tyrion's saying a wise man once said this and that, and then she just stops to say are you setting yourself up to be a wise man?
He's like, no, I wouldn't do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do like how a lot of these characters are progressing. Sir Davos still is a really good character. He's a really good mediator, really good people person. Probably the best people person in Westeros at the moment.
I don't know why they didn't. When he was saying about he took a knife in the heart, he gave his life, and then he gets stopped by Jon. I think because he probably would have thought that was too far. I know, but why wouldn't they question that right then and there? What would you say?
They do. There is a shot where after he says that, where Jon is like no, and it cuts back to Tyrion, and Tyrion turns to look at Daenerys. Daenerys is looking at Tyrion puzzled. There is a acknowledgement of him being cut off for a reason. They do understand that, and I don't think it's something they're going to let go.
Well, they bring it up later, don't they? But
they do bring it
later.
I don't think that's the end of it. I think that's going to be in her mind about what do you mean by that. And if you told somebody there's an army of the dead coming from the north, I died and I was brought back from the dead.
Yeah.
That adds to the whole I'm not going to believe you thing. So I think.
But the red woman who she has there could vouch for it.
I don't think she wants to be involved with that, to be honest, anymore. She knows perfectly well that if they see her, they're going to end up killing her. And having the power to do that to someone, it's a very dangerous thing to have. Why couldn't you do it to anyone? Is it just Jon Snow? Why don't you do it to more people? It's complicated, and it's a bad plot device. If you've got somebody that can bring everybody back from the dead, then there's no risk to anything. So it's good to keep her out of the way. Yeah. It's like bringing characters back from the dead and time travel are very dangerous things to mess around with when writing something, because it means a lot of stuff doesn't have consequence because you can easily undo it.
Do you reckon the Red Woman knows a lot? Because obviously she said about Varys that he'd be dying at some point and that she has to come back to die. Like, do you reckon she's seen in the flames how
Oh yeah, she would have
it
seen
is
something.
actually going to turn out for people?
I
Like
think
Bran must
I
know
think
as
she
well.
will end up dying.
Can he only see stuff that's happened? But he
I
does
think-
see stuff, doesn't he?
Does he start?
Visions.
Does he see the future? When does he see the future?
When he like touches a tree for like the first time in it, he sees like dragons flying around and
Yeah, I think he has seen the future.
Okay.
the south's all
I
covered
imagine
in
it's a
ice
similar
and-
sort of thing, similar sort of magic that they use. Whoever is like granting them access to these visions, I don't know. Obviously they got like, is it Rylor, like the Lord of Light or whatever? He gives magic to like, it's like blood magic through burnt sacrifices or whatever. But I don't know how Bran's one works exactly. But I definitely do think that she has seen something in the flames, and she knows that Varys believes almost unwillingly in the power of the red priests and priestesses, because he was victim to one of them. They cut off his testicles and burnt them in the flames, and he heard a lot of like talk from the flames.
Yeah.
So he's terrified of that. He doesn't know that there's some power in something like that. He doesn't like the fact that power exists. But yeah, he may well end up dying. But he doesn't. He knows he's gonna die at some point. Whether or not that's in the course of the shows, yet to be seen. But I think it will be.
Well,
This
Varys, you don't think Varys is going to make it?
To an extent, no. I think he'll end up dying.
Yeah, one of the theories I was going to talk about that I saw on a video on YouTube was about Varys being a merman.
What?
Have you heard this about Varys being a merman?
God,
And they're
No,
talking
okay.
about his long
mate,
cloaks.
hold on.
drifts along.
Before, just let me just. Why don't you? Have you ever had any inclination in Game of Thrones that mer people were a thing?
No, exactly. But
So
in
where
this
does
video,
this come from?
Well, in this video, he was saying about apparently the sailors told tales of the mermaids and stuff like that, and I can't remember exactly the other things that he was suggesting, but it was very loose.
Wait, who are we talking about, Varys or Davos?
Varys.
Varys.
The
Yeah.
bald guy.
Yeah.
That he's a merman. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
Okay, so what's that theory got to do with anything? Like, what does that add to the actual story?
Yeah, what?
Well, I know. I just thought I'd say it as we were talking about Varys. But it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Okay, so when they explain
it's-
this theory about him being a merman, like, what was the reasoning for it? Like,
What
was
consequence does this have within the
Well,
bigger
that's it.
picture of the story?
They
So
didn't.
it's got no consequence on the actual main story, but what things did they say about him that led them to believe that he was a merman?
I mean, I'll have to watch it again.
Because I'm fairly sure in every scene that I've seen him in, he's got legs.
I know exactly. That was one of
And-
the things they said. You can see that he's got legs, but people still believe
I think
under his
that's-
cloak or some. nonsense.
Doesn't that stop there? Doesn't like the whole thing of being a merman?
Out of all the
ends-
theories you could have
Exactly.
brought up,
I just thought I'd bring it up because it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Is it? This has got to be like a fake one that you've fallen for.
No, it's not. It's.
we didn't believe
The
them.
can't
man
remember who the,
has legs. I think that rules you out immediately of being a merman.
It's like The Last Harpy, is it? They do like loads of videos. They do quite a lot of videos on.
I don't know.
Game of
What, you
Thrones
shouting
stuff.
out more channels? Bloody hell, Adam.
No,
He's
I'm
even
just
got
trying
gills.
to say, like they're. I don't think they
Okay,
chat a lot
B-man,
of
he's
shit.
a merman. Where's his gills?
Well, yeah, exactly.
He's
I
got
don't know.
legs.
I'm not saying he's a merman. I'm just saying.
He's been on
It's
dry
a
land for so
ludicrous
much that he
theory.
would be dead by now.
Well, there's all sorts of magic going on.
When they got on the boat, why didn't he swim alongside them?
Could you imagine?
Like, these are all the things that a merman would want to do, but he just doesn't do them. I don't even want to know where this idea comes from.
It's
I
like,
appreciate the fact that you've bought into this.
Seriously, I'll send you the link for the video when I find it. You can watch it because
This has
I
got
can't
to be
remember.
it's got to be a piss take. Like, how have you
isn't.
fallen for that?
It isn't.
Okay. It's
you know,
not a
like
piss take.
last episode where we were saying when Theon jumped off the ship because there's war and there's loads of bloods in the water, he was just gonna get eaten by a shark.
He's just gonna be eating my shark.
But
But
instead, it's just
Varys.
loads of Varyses just swimming around him.
Loads of mermen, just like yeah.
That's such a odd thing.
That's very, very bizarre, B-man.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know. That's what I thought I'd
So-
talk about. But yeah,
Another thing that I did want to point out is when Jon and Daenerys talk after he's spent his time brooding on the mountain, and she says that she'll allow him to mine the dragon glass. He says that he doesn't. He just says he doesn't like fighting, because fighting is what he's good at. And he doesn't like being good at what he's good at. He doesn't enjoy it.
yeah.
And Do you know who else that draws parallels to? There's another character that's been mentioned who also didn't like his aptitude for fighting.
Ned.
Who?
Ned Stark.
No, not Ned. His actual father, Rhaegar. In season, is it 5? When Barristan Selmy arrives in Essos and talks to Daenerys about her brother, Rhaegar, he says that the Trident, the people there fought for him because they actually believed in him and they liked him and they wanted to die for him. Similar to how Sir Davos is like, Jon is king not because he's an actual Stark, because he's a bastard, but because the people there believe in him. Yeah, and Jon doesn't like fighting. Neither does Rhaegar.
So who's Rhaegar to Daenerys?
Her brother.
Uncle? Her brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her older brother, who Robert killed, I believe, at the Trident, which turned the war
So
essentially.
how old would she have been then? Was she alive?
She wasn't born. I don't think
Okay.
she was born. I think towards the end of the war, like the very end. So she.
And
wasn't
who's
around.
Rhaegar to Jon?
His dad.
His dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So yeah, there's like a similarity there. Like they're both very skilled fighters and they don't like the fact they have to kill people, but they are unfortunately good at it.
Is
They,
it?
they are just subtly reinforcing sort of this
subtle
Targaryen-
reinforcement that they had idea that, and the same with like reintroducing Bran. He's like, I've got to tell Jon these little cues that there's going to be a culmination of where Jon's going to find out that he's both Stark and Targaryen, and whether or not he's just like shit, I can't be king of the North anymore, or I'm not going to tell anyone. That's something else entirely. I don't know what he'd do if he found out.
Yeah, I wonder how he would react. And I wonder how Daenerys would react as well.
She'd be like, "Sweet, I'm not alone anymore." To be honest, that might make her weirdly more
Does
interesting.
that give him
because-
any
give him
right
what?
to the actual overall throne?
Yeah, he's a bastard though, so he's still illegitimate, but he would actually have more claim than she would.
Because what, he's male?
Because he's male, and Rhaegar was the heir to the throne.
So he is more in line to the throne than she is.
He's more of a threat, and yeah, she'd be definitely more invested in him if she found out.
So do you reckon that could be like a problem? For,
Yeah,
like for her?
because if he ever was like, okay, I'm actually a Targaryen, I've got all these northern houses who back me, and I want the Iron Throne. At the moment, Daenerys is losing, and she's going to want an ally, and having another Targaryen as an ally is sick, because then they get there. If she ends up winning and whatnot, she has another Targaryen for her to have little inbred kids with, because that's what they like to do.
And because he's Targaryen Stark as well, obviously Stark's one of them.
So he wouldn't be. He's not
literally
pure Targaryen. So there wouldn't be as, that much gene mixing of similar. There wouldn't be enough like chromosomes line up which are like the same, because he's obviously got half Stark in him from Lyanna. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know how
it'll be
hostile she'll be
interesting.
towards him if when she does find out. Because let's face it, I imagine she is.
What would you do if she was the one that kills him?
That'd be cool.
I think that'd be good. Anything which.
It's completely off.
Yeah, exactly. And that's very Game of Thrones, isn't it?
Yeah.
As long as it's like slightly like off-piste, but it's like believable for a character to do something, then it's fine.
As long as they've got reason to do it, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect it. Then it's like,
If a character does something which is completely unreasonable for everything you've been led to believe them to do, that's when it's that's when it ends up being poor. And that's something that other TV shows suffer a lot from. When it's like, okay, I've built this character, and his archetype is A, so he conforms to all things belonging to A, but then randomly he's like, I'm going to do C. Like that, as a viewer, that's very jarring. So.
Leon, it's happening with Sam. He's got to rewrite the stories. It is just going to be from his point of view, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's going to be
the whole thing.
The whole thing will end up being him at the end writing
the story of the Game of Thrones.
It would be Game of Thrones, The War of the Fire Kings, a song of Ice and Fire. I don't know what he'll end up calling it. I don't know if he'll call it a Game of Thrones. I think he'll call it a Song of Ice and Fire.
So he's got to rewrite all those old scripts. So he's going to learn so much.
Yeah.
And he's just going to be feeding ravens up north.
Yeah, with any sick new knowledge. The less that Gilly and the kids in it, the better. I don't mind Sam on his own. He's actually doing something.
Well,
I just don't care about his like little romance plot. I don't think it actually adds anything to the story.
No, I'm just hoping he turns into a stone golem and dies, to be honest.
But he somehow contracted the disease he cured Jorah Mormont of. He's shit. All it does is transfer it to a different person. Doesn't actually like get rid of it.
Because think about him covered in stone, man. He'd literally be the thing out of Fantastic Four.
Yeah, just like Stone Golem just strolling around the place. Blades bouncing off him. You can't cut me, I'm Rockman. Like that, to be honest, could somebody who's infected with, what's the disease called?
Dragon scale.
Grayscale.
Grayscale. Could they become White Walkers? They can't they?
Well, yeah, well, I assume because they're still living, so if they die and come back, they'll just be icy.
I wonder like how that stuff
Dragon.
like interacts. Like, does that make them so they've got super hard skin, so like they're harder to like fuck up or whatever? I don't know. I don't know if there's any.
Well, there's a place
something
that,
like
they all live, isn't there?
Where
you get banished
Is it Volantis? They get banished to there, but that's like down towards Essos. That's like towards where Tyrion arrived.
So there is just a place where there's just fucking
That
rock
island
people
of them,
strolling
yeah.
about.
It's where they get sent.
Is it Old Valyria? Or
I think
like,
it is Old
it
Valyria.
Volantis? Is it Old Valyria where they get banished to?
Because someone else was going to Volantis, so I don't think it was there.
Yeah, I don't think it's Volantis. I think it might be Old Valyria or whatever. Yeah, they get dropped off on an island there and they end up going mad and end up dying after a while.
Sounds like quite a nice little island, to be honest.
It would be interesting to see actually what was going on there. Imagine some mental shit goes on the island. Because people obviously try and go there to steal stuff from the old like empire that used to be there. And they've just got all these people there who just want to touch them and, infect them. That's what they do. Got the madness, they just want to attack things.
I swear when he got attacked, like, because they're not dead, are they? They've just lost their mind and they're infected with this thing. Yeah, they were like, I swear they
They're
came
like
from out of the
hyper-aggressive.
water.
It dropped down.
They dropped
and
down, I
did
think,
they?
into the water, and then one like was under the boat and was like, "Yeah," and went after him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we'll end up going back to that place, but that sort of concept does sound intriguing. Like dropping all these geezers off there on this island just for them to turn insane and scrap each other.
I imagine there would be some sort of little. There could be a short story about what happens on there.
There probably is. There's probably quite a few short stories that I
Yeah.
haven't heard of to do with Westeros or just Game of Thrones in general.
Is it
But,
Rhaegar who plays the harp, or he played the harp?
I believe so. He's the one that sung.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
that was,
sounds
I
like
just
what they were
remembered. I remembered what one of the other theories was in that video,
Right.
and it was
what is
about Rhaegar and his harp, and something about his harp, maybe being in the catacombs under Winterfell, and then they're also saying because they only ever show you a tiny bit of the catacombs, and they're supposed to be like huge. And there's some, I can't remember where it's from, whether it's from bits that are in the book or whatever, but he was saying about some people tell stories of there being a dragon that lives under the catacombs, and it's even in the winter, it's the dragon that keeps like the spring just outside of Winterfell warm with his fire from underneath the ground. Which again is pretty.
I've never heard of that. I thought you were going to talk about that weird thing in the books. There's a horn which apparently makes dragons obey you.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
I think it's either Euron or his brother. Euron has a brother in the book who acts from the show currently called Victarion, and I can't remember. One of the two is either has in their possession or is trying to find this horn, which essentially you blow it and it makes dragons like obey you or something, because he wants to steal Daenerys' dragons and use them to like fight for him or whatever, rob her of like having control over them. So I don't know if that's something they're ever going to bring in. I think it might be a bit late to have something that powerful just be mentioned and introduced.
I think people who haven't read the book would freak out about that. Like,
Yeah,
all
just
of this
being like,
happens
"Oh, by
and
the
somebody
way."
just comes out with a horn and it's like, yeah, the dragons are following me now. That would
Yeah,
just
they're
sit
my
there.
boys. Just blow this horn.
There's just this huge battle, and then there's just like Theon on the cliff, and you just think,
Yeah, I don't think they'll use the horn, but I think it's been mentioned like a decent amount in the books. It's just stuff that I've either read online or Rowan's told me, because Rowan's like read up until where the latest book is. But
Yeah, in the books, Joe was telling me, because his brother reads books, that Euron, he's with Daenerys in the books, isn't he?
he tries to.
He actually is with her, not
Yeah,
with Cersei,
Yeah, because essentially I think in the books,
which is a big difference, isn't it?
he arrives at Marine and lays siege to Marine and tries to basically kidnap Daenerys. I think. It's either that or Victarion tries to do that. One of the two. Because is it last season when the slavers turn up and like destroy their fleet or whatever,
yeah.
and like start attacking the city.
Yeah.
I always thought that was going to be the Greyjoys doing that, or like Euron doing it, because he was like building a fleet or whatever. I thought that was what it was. Like he's gonna sail over there and be like, oh, I'm gonna, do what Theon and Yara did, and like, suggest that me and Daenerys team up.
But do you think
I think that is in the books. Yeah.
Do you think they changed their minds when they were? Because at the end of last series, he was set to be sailing off, wasn't he, for Daenerys?
Yeah. Yeah. No, he did say that.
This
And then they got there
he's gone
first.
Cersei.
Well, I'm assuming because he acknowledges the fact that Theon and Yara were going to get there first, that they had the bigger fleet at the time, which I still think it's silly that he has such a big fleet already.
So how long has actually passed in that time then?
I don't know. Time is going really, really fast at the moment. Like people are marching on castles, and battles being fought where that would take like 2 episodes in the previous season just to get there, and then an episode to fight the battle. I don't know. My sense of scale is off. It doesn't feel like a show anymore. It feels like a really long film. Everything's just going all about the place. Like the Greyjoys literally just defeated the Daenerys loyalist fleet
In Solid.
and then literally we see them this episode outmaneuvering the Unsullied fleet and flanking them at Castle Rock and destroying them there. I still don't know where those fireballs are coming from. They look like something to do with pyromancers. Like, I don't see that they would have such big catapults on their ships, like just hurling big ass fire bombs around. The fire looks really weird.
I swear in the last episode when Euron attacks the other Greyjoys, that I swear you see one come flying out from the ship somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like in the side or in the front of the ship.
Weird. It's really weird, like how the fire doesn't seem to like be moving right or something. It just looks really weird to me when I see it. It might just because it's CG, and the CG in Game of Thrones isn't like cinema quality, like amazing. It's all right, but you can obviously tell when it's there.
Yeah.
But it might just be something to do with that, because generally when I see the fireballs,
I know what you mean. They look
it looks
light,
almost
don't
like they're magic. It doesn't
Yeah.
really look like they've been fired from something. I don't know if Euron's got some weird sort of wizards, but I think having that sort of magic would be so bizarre. All the magic we've seen in Game of Thrones has never really been so direct. You know what I mean? We've never seen someone just go up to someone and be like, I'm going to cast a spell on that. It's
Yeah.
always some weird sort of,
Just
sort of
conjure
weird
up a fireball
sacrifice
in their
or
hands.
just conjure up fire and just lob it. Yeah, I don't know. The fire looks really weird, but everything's happening so quickly. Everything's
I
all
like
over
it.
the place at the moment. Yeah, I do like it, but I mean, my sense of scale of previous seasons is definitely twisted now. Going back and watching the old stuff is going to seem so much more slower after these 2 seasons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think I could go back and watch it from the beginning. There's so much has happened. It would just be frustrating.
I
to
know, I
where they
struggled
are
for so
and
long
what's
when I was-
happened.
When I was watching it with Rose.
Yeah, so you could go back and you get Joffrey back, but you get young Sansa back. I don't know if I could deal with that. Like, young Joffrey was
Yeah,
like,
true.
Joffrey was funny, but
I do miss
Sansa
Joffrey.
was so annoying. Absolutely hated seeing her on screen. And then we had to do all the stupid old Sam and Gilly stuff as well. I don't think I'm doing that.
I keep forgetting that Sam fought White Walker. I always forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He's a big character.
So why was there one that south? Obviously he was still north of the Wall, but why was he? Why was there just?
It's one of the
a
ones
stray
that
White
go
Walker?
out and gets the babies from Cross's Keep, I think.
Came for the baby, didn't it? Because that baby was supposed to be
Yeah.
left out.
Like, baby Sam was supposed to be one of the babies that were offered to them. So they've obviously been doing that for years. So there's going to be so many of the actual proper White Walkers now. Because
So
they're
Craster
not-
just had a truce with the White Walkers.
basically.
But how does that come about? Do you know what I mean?
don't
Like how has that happened? Has he just spoken to the Night King? What-
Conversation?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I know in the book, I think it's in the book, there's a story of explaining why all the castles of the Night's Watch don't have a back to them anymore. It's because the Starks had to march on them with the wildlings, because the previous commander of the Night's Watch took one of those White Walkers that was female, and made it his queen, and they would do human sacrifice and shit. So there's obviously got to be some sort of communication that is possible between humans and White Walkers. We just haven't actually seen it. I think they do that because they try and really portray them as this weird alien sort of other. So they don't want any sort of
humanise them
dialogue.
too much.
Yeah, if a White Walker just strode up and went yeah, sorry man, we're just going to kill you, that's just what we're programmed to do. It sort of takes away the whole weird alien thing, because we've never heard them speak, ever.
No.
I think the only time we've ever heard one of them make sounds is the weird sort of snarls they do, and in season 1 where Jon kills the other one, where he burns it, when it's in the Castle Black. I think it shouts or screams or something then, but we never hear them actually talk. It is really, really bizarre, but there must be some sort of way that Crast must have made some sort of pact with them, because they obviously have been doing it for a while, because he's never been disturbed by him. So I don't know what's going on there with them. And I don't know how those babies, do they grow up into those things, or do they stay as babies forever?
No, I assume they grow up.
It seems a bit pointless.
No, they'd be
babies.
useless, wouldn't they, if they were just babies.
Just lob them at people, wouldn't you?
But it just seems weird to have kid or child White Walkers running around playing football on tricycles and stuff. Where are they growing up? What are they doing?
But
are they acting like children?
There was that episode where they took the baby back, and they took them back to this weird sort of ice fortress.
Yeah.
You never saw the inside, just saw the ice outside. Cause I remember seeing it and being obviously it doesn't look like Ice Crown Citadel, because that's made out of steel, but it was this weird castle made of ice wherever they're hiding out, and they were turning them there. So I'm assuming that's where they do it. But whatever they do there, I don't know. I don't know if those kids actually have time as actual children, running around, just beating each other up, just fighting, going down dip. I don't think they do any of that sort of stuff. I genuinely just think they, I don't know, just walk around and then just grow up. Dip. Yeah, they don't do that. And they don't go to One Stop, get any dip dabs. They've never had a drumstick. They don't have any of that sort of stuff. I don't know. It is another weird dimension to it, but it's also the weird sort of alien other aspect of it, where they take all these babies, and you're potentially seeing them as these grown weird icemen.
I hope we do get to see more of the White Walkers' place, where they actually all are. At the time.
I doubt it.
Not just them attacking.
I don't think the White Walkers ever get pushed back that far.
Because they're just they're marching down us. They must have left their base. So I feel like.
But it's I just don't understand how they move about, because there's so long ago they've been right outside the wall though, haven't they? So long ago they were just outside the wall.
But I think those ones were it's weird because.
And it was the guy on the horse.
It's because the White Walkers the White Walkers name gets put across everything that's out there that's undead, when in the books I think the undead men that just get turned back, they're not White Walkers, they're called Whites. That name's used in other fantasy things as well for undead things that have been raised back up. But the actual White Walkers are the people that would have had the dragon's glass inserted in them by the children and turned them into the weird sort of monster things that they are. Those are the actual White Walkers. I think they are referred to as the others in the book as well. So I don't know what those guys are doing.
So in the first episode, where you know, the actual start of the first episode, they're whites, they're not White Walkers, because they were just the
undead geezers who are been raised up, just killed and come back. They're called Whites, I believe. I think in the show they just call them all White Walkers, but they are actually white.
And black.
They're white. Then the what's it called? The weird ice-looking people, I believe, they're the others. The White Walkers, they're the humans that have been converted. So I'm assuming that's what the babies become as well. I don't think they end up all zombie fire. I end up thinking they become all ice. Another thing is, why does like, what's it called? What's the steel that they all use for their swords
Valerian?
that kills them? Yeah. What weird magic is it in Valerian steel that makes it so that it kills them? Like, what specifically about it? Because obviously they can't replicate it. That's why they always smelt down the stuff and reforge them into other swords, like they did with ice. Like, they don't have Ned's sword anymore.
So you can use Valerian steel, you can use dragon glass, and you can use obsidian to kill them.
Obsidian is dragon glass.
Oh, okay.
I think they use that and fire. I think can kill them.
And just fire. So that's why they set their
Fire
swords
can kill the whites, because that's what I think they used to kill the one in the first episode. Or whenever Jon goes to Castle Black and one attacks the Captain Commander, like I think he burns it and it kills it. I think that can kill the whites, but I think the actual White Walkers, you probably have to use dragon glass or Valerian steel. So I don't know what. I think the legend about Valerian steel is that they forged it with dragon fire. So I guess it's absorbed some weird property from that, but I don't know. There's not that much Valerian steel going around anymore.
Maybe they could find some more in old Valyria.
Well, if it's just forged with dragon fire, can't they just forge it with dragon fire?
Well, they didn't have any dragons before, did they?
Yeah, but I mean now, obviously, can't.
Yeah. To control the dragon to.
Yeah.
Just get the horn.
Work? Yeah, they'd have to whack out the horn.
Just get the horn and be like, burn this for me, Drogon. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. Don't forget the White Walkers now have fucking undead giants as well, just strolling around. Like, they've got so many men now. Like,
why does it stop at giants? Like, if they can just bring everything back, why don't they just bring back like dead squirrels and shit?
In the book, some of them actually ride giant undead spiders. Like, north of the wall, they're supposed to be giant spiders that they've brought back as well. There's like weird monsters to the north that they use as well. They just don't have them in the show.
Grumpkins and Snarks.
Yeah. Bloody hell. There's I think they ride like giant spiders, or it's mentioned or believed that they do. The character that Benjamin plays, Cold Hands, rides like a giant elk, not an actual horse. In the book, I think, as well.
That would be sick.
There's other stuff on there, but obviously it costs too much money for them to like CGI it. That's why, like in Battle of the Bastards, they had the big giant and not Ghost in it. Ghost was just somewhere snoozing because they can't afford to have them both in one episode. It's too much.
Apparently, those direwolves, like, they're actually like the size of horses. They're like eye level with people.
Yeah,
like,
they're supposed to be absolutely wench.
So like if there's a scene where Ghost is next to Jon, he would literally be the same height as him. So they just don't put them in because they'd rather focus the budget on like the dragons, I assume.
Yeah,
something else.
The dragons and like they take the priority, and if they're
it would look weird as well. Like imagine it does like a panning shot or a shot sort of just swooping round, and it's just Jon giving a talk, and there's like this dog that's as big as him next to him in those shots. Like it would be very sort of off-putting and jarring.
Yeah.
So it's understandable.
Like it would be cool to see him that big, because Nymeria is still pretty big when you see her with Arya.
Yeah, but that's probably why they just had her boy her off, so they don't have to use the budget,
So they've sort of just done they've touched
they're not going to bring her back.
They're there.
Yeah. But she is like huge. But we haven't seen Ghost in a while. But when we ever see him again, he's probably going to be massive.
But where's he? He's at Castle. He's at
he's just
Winterfell.
He'll be at Winterfell. He's just
Winterfell.
snoozing. Like, because he wasn't about for any of this stuff. Like, he's literally not been seen since Jon came back. Like, he sat up because he sent something when Jon came back from the dead. But apart from that, we've literally not seen him. So Ghost and Nymeria are the only dogs left, but Nymeria's obviously just fucked off. So it's pretty much just going to be Ghost, the only one we see now.
Yeah, well, I think Nymeria will come back with the wolf pack when the time's
Walkers,
right. Yeah.
And then die and come back as like a
undead
dog. Arya's got to scrap it. Is Arya's sword made out of Valerian steel? It's not, is it?
No, hers is just needle. I don't know. Because you got given that right at the beginning, didn't you?
Jon made it, didn't he? He wouldn't have had that.
Yeah, that's true.
Or had it made.
She can't scrap him with that. She's going to have to whack on a bit of dragon glass on the end of that. Just poke the White Walkers. If she ends up fighting them. Hope she does, but I imagine she'll end up just going south afterwards.
I
She'll finish her list.
I can't imagine her fighting the White Walkers. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like she would, or it would be right. Because it's not like she's a sort of like battle sort of person, is she? She's more.
She's the assassin.
Stealthy, assassin.
Yeah.
What about if like she is the Night King? She's just wearing his face. Just calls it off. It's just Arya, and it's just Arya sat on the throne.
Yeah, I do wonder if we actually hear them speak. They probably speak in a weird language.
Yeah, it would just be subtitled, I reckon.
Yeah, we haven't had subtitled dialogue in a while, have we?
Not
since last season, I don't think.
Dothraki.
Yeah, because they speak in Valyrian, like in this episode, but it's not subtitled. They speak it in front of John and Davos. Yeah. But still, I do wonder, like, the White Walkers are like really interesting. I do wonder how you organise and do all their shite. I hope they do get an ice dragon.
It will make things interesting, but I think that would just be too much.
The odds are already stacked against them, aren't they?
Well, stacked for them.
Against like
the humans, yeah.
The humans, yeah. 11.
So if they take down a dragon and then resurrect it, I'd just it's GG right there.
Yeah, end fast. Yeah, I think if they did take one, the other two could scrap it. Depends which one it is. It'd probably end up being Drogon because he's the big one. And that would like upset Dany the most because that's the one that she always flies on. She always neglects the other two and just flies on Drogon. Yeah, no, I do want to see the White Walkers, but I don't think we're going to see them anytime soon. I don't think towards the end of the season. I think that's going to be like the big. Are they going to do like a really? You know how they did the battles at the 9th episode of every season. Obviously, they're doing them as we go along. I reckon the White Walkers will be the second to last episode.
I hope they give it to the same guy who directed the Battle of the Bastards as well.
He didn't do Hard Home as well, did he?
I think he did, didn't he?
He did. I think they're the only two he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be the boy they're just going to keep bringing back.
Because, I mean, it's amazing. It's actually amazing the way he does it.
Do you prefer Battle of the Bastards or Hard Home?
Battle of the Bastards, I think.
I think it's got to be Battle of the Bastards. Just because you always forget at the beginning of that, she flies the dragons, doesn't she? She cuts off like 2 of the people's heads. She gets Grey Worm to do it. Then she jumps on the dragon and starts breathing fire on the ships that are attacking.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Battle of the Bastards. So from the beginning, it's just full action-packed madness, really.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, but then again, Hard Home was like the first big thing with the White Walkers, and it was the first sort of mythical battle, which I know a lot of people are interested in compared to just the, swords. I guess there was a giant in Battle of the Bastards, but I think they're both good. Hard Home was like scarier, I think, for the actual plot line. It's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I remember watching that with my mates in
like
first
what they're actually going to do.
I
find it weird that they did just stop at the water though.
Yeah.
And they're just going to go round East Point by the sea, take that castle, go round, and they can go through the water there, can they? Guess we'll see.
They just want to try and find like the easiest point to bypass the wall, I guess. I think them going to Castle Black doesn't really achieve anything, because they still can't really get through.
Is that castle actually called East Point by the sea? Is it?
Is it East Point or is it East Watch by the sea?
I've just been saying that the whole episode, thinking.
Either way, well, we've only heard it mentioned once anyway, so it's understandable if you don't actually remember what it's called.
Some shit. I wonder what that would be like. I wonder if that's going to be like a huge fort.
Huge battle.
Be a little.
I think they really need to capture one and bring it down so that other people can see it and be like, "Yo, we need to do something about this."
That's the thing is, I don't know if it would go that way. I think it would more likely. So I can't imagine them actually like watching them walking a prisoner White Walker somewhere. I can't imagine that. I think it'd more likely be that like East Watch falls or something, and the news actually gets spread to people and they actually believe it. I don't know.
Maybe it's like that, but I think even if what I mean by like him bringing a White Walker down. So I don't think necessarily everyone's going to still agree to it. I still think people are going to be like, yeah, no, fuck off. I'm not going to help you. Leave you to die or whatever. Definitely think Cersei will be like that. But just to be like, you know, when you get those situations where this is the easy thing that you could have done to have done with it, especially when you're watching something and you don't do it. For me, that's the thing that could be done. Capture one, bring it to people and show them. If you've got enough time to go south to try and get Dragonglass, if you can capture one, you yourself don't have to go. Just get some people to transport it down so they have evidence of this thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. So they can actually be like, okay, this thing is a real threat. That's just something I think that could be done. They probably won't do it. I think it'll be too convenient for them to do something like that. But that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Instead of them losing the castle and then them sending a raven, we lost the castle to the White Walkers, and then they believe. They still haven't seen the White Walkers at that point, or seen the Whites. They've just heard that this castle's been lost. They won't know who's taken it. If that makes people believe it, you know, it's a bit strange.
But it's like,
I'm talking about the people who are south, though. I'm not talking about people who are like, you know, in like the mid part, because they'll probably be more inclined to believe it as winter spreads.
I know, but from the Eastwatch falling, that'll mean they're on this side of the wall then, won't it? So people will more people will see them.
Yeah. But then it ends up being a weird situation where it's like a thing where commoners are talk about it and people still deny it. Type thing. We end up in that sort of situation, which is still somewhat interesting because then it gives people reason to like revolt and there be like people's rebellion and stuff like that, which is probably not something that they're going to do. But it's a way for Cersei to lose King's Landing because she's essentially using the population of those people as a means to stop Daenerys from just coming in with her dragons and winning.
Daenerys she should just grab Jon, jump on a dragon and just fly up north past the wall and just have a look and see what he's chatting about. So it'll take her no time to get over there, will it?
That battle at Eastwatch is going to be ridiculous though, because obviously we know that they've sent the wildlings up there, and then the Hound is up there as well.
Oh yeah, they're going there.
So yeah, that's where they're heading. So
yeah,
that battle does happen because
that
will be the first battle. Is that's going to be actually really exciting to watch.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Hopefully the undead giants are involved. It's just a huge scrap. I want it to be sick. It needs to be. As I think Battle of the Bastards is an episode is better than Hard Home. I do really like Hard Home though, like the actual thinking about what actually happened there.
Yeah.
Because Battle of the Bastards, while I do like it, it was a lot of shit going Ramsay's way because he was Ramsay, rather than, you know, him earning it type stuff.
I just liked the perspective of being on the ground and then seeing the horses ride past.
Oh yeah,
how
really
high
good.
they were, and actually thinking that
horses will fuck you up, man.
That's that's what the picture you'd be seeing if you were sort of in that battle. He like represented it well and really put you in the battle. It wasn't just you're watching from the side and you're seeing these horses and you don't actually get a feel.
Yeah, it's not like when people charge each other with horses, they slow down and then start fighting with swords. They proper go in at each other.
Yeah, when they first hit, it's just that bit there was mental.
Mhm.
They didn't use much CGI, did they, for that?
Well, they would have used it for the horses running into each other.
Well,
I watched. That would have killed them, I think.
No, because I watched a video the other day, and it's Jon Snow. What's his name? Can't remember his name.
Kit Harington.
Yeah. He was talking about how they were a bit annoyed that it took so much effort and so much of it is real, but people were going to just think it's CGI. And he said at one point that he stood there and there's the whole row of horses charging towards him.
Yeah, but that stuff would have been real. The horses ran out, but when they collide into each other, that would have been CG because you see people like getting thrown off and those horses are dead.
I know, yeah. And they showed like the dummy horses that they had on the ground, like the dead ones.
Animals on you couldn't really kill animals on film. People didn't like it, but people used to still do it in films. They used to kill them. Like they can't do that anymore.
No,
get horses and people to actually just charge each other.
People are going nuts.
Yeah, not even just for the horses, but for the people that ride them as well.
Well, yeah.
Horses would crush them. The Battle of Bastards was really good. Like when he tries to talk to people and they just end up dying, and he's just covered in so much shite, and he nearly gets crushed to death. Oh, it was good.
Right,
but Hard Home really does like drive home the point that, you know, all the stuff that's going on down south while it's interesting and intriguing and cool and whatnot, this is the thing. The overarching villain is here. It's just most people are just too blind to see it.
Yeah, good point, Neil.
Yeah, it was thinking.
That's a good
Right,
point.
so have you got anything else for Game of Thrones points? Or should we
I don't think so.
start rounding it
I'm
up?
having a look at
general
my
stuff?
notes now. See
I won't.
if
I
there's
won't
anything
spoil. I won't say any spoilers. Well, you can't really have any spoilers in this anyway. But I just watched Dunkirk recently.
Oh yeah, Dunkirk. Do you like it?
Yeah, great film. Really good.
Do you think
Really,
it's
really
Nolan's best?
No, I don't think it's. Well, I think it's so different. I don't think you can compare it to Inception or Prestige or Interstellar because it's just so different. But it is amazing. It's a really good film. You come out of there and you think like the sense of like, you know, patriotism. You're just like,
Yeah, it's proper
I'll
England.
go to war right now.
It is proper like it's well England. When
It's
I
so
came out of that film, like the end part of it's probably the bit I'd like the least because it does do the Churchill speech type thing and it is well like flag bearer, like wave your flag, England are sick type shit, up the empire, but it obviously fits in with the time that the film's set and yeah, I do think it's a very good film.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And Harry Styles, I thought it was amazing.
He's actually
to be
good in
honest.
it.
I thought he was actually really good.
I thought when I heard he's going to be in it, I was like, "Fuck off!"
Wait.
I
Every
hate your
time-
music, it's going to be shit.
What did I just
You're
say?
going to have like a 2-bit cameo. And he's
Harry
actually good in
Harry
it.
Styles is like a main character in it.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
No, I'm
he's
not.
actually
And
good in it.
every time he went to speak, I was waiting. I was actually just waiting to be.
For him to start singing.
No. I was waiting for something like it to sound cheesy or it to sound out of place. Like I was just waiting to
Like
be
Beckham.
like, oh, that was bad. But it wasn't. Everything he said, it was in character. Like just like eye
Oh wait, hold on.
movements
Have
and
you seen the
expressions.
fucking King Arthur film, B-Man? I bet you have.
Yeah.
I bet you fucking like that film.
No, it was
I
alright.
haven't seen.
No.
I haven't seen.
It's not as
it.
good as I thought it was going to be.
I thought
haven't
it was
seen
awful.
but how was David Beckham's cameo in that?
Yeah, that was a bit daft.
It was so bad.
It just
I-
you couldn't take it seriously whatsoever, could you?
It was.
The thing is,
you
though, Harry
can't-
Styles, you could.
It's
Like,
the
he
wrong
fit-
genre for
he
Guy Ritchie
fits so
for a Guy
good
Ritchie
with it.
film.
Yeah.
Mm.
The style he did, you know those, you know, the like the quick movements around Adam, like between each character.
Does
He'll
it
say
like
something. and
people
they'll say
running through
something.
alleyways?
Yeah.
And it does like the
Yes,
side
it is.
shots
It's
of,
it's a lot of like alleyway shots and like a lot
On
of
the
quick
geezer.
movements. It was very bizarre for King Arthur. I think
They do. It does have good fighting scenes though.
the fighting scene's good. The way it's directed, but I just think
Yeah.
it was very weird. You know, it sort of fits Snatch and those sort of films. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Dunkirk, I'd definitely recommend watching it.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
been
Dunkirk
meaning
was a
to.
good watch.
It was very good.
I watched a film the other day. It's called A Horse Named Friday.
You actually fucking watched it.
Yeah, I watched it.
You
What is
actually
that?
watched it.
What is it? I haven't
It's
heard
the
of
film that I made.
it. Oh right.
It's a short film that Leon made and sent to me ages ago, but I didn't get around to watching it.
You actually watched that film.
But yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd say the only thing about it was probably the editing and the colouring.
Yeah, fuck off. I knew that was coming.
No, yeah, it was good though. Yeah, it was quite good. But
Yeah,
I did
you know where we
sort
shot it?
of... No, where?
We shot it in the New Forest.
Oh yeah, we saw that
Went
at the
down
end.
there. Did some location scouting over a few months. Found some decent spots, and essentially we were given only 2 days license by the New Forest, like park rangers or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the permission planning like? The paperwork you had to fill out? Because
Well,
I've
I
had to
was
film
the
on, like,
producer for the
trustee
film,
land,
but
it was-
essentially you had to contact the people who run the place because students are allowed to film there, but they don't like it. They tend to give you a really short amount of time because bigger films do go there. Like Avengers shot there. Was it Age of Ultron shot a scene there or something?
That
one of
fight
them
at the
did.
beginning in the forest.
Yeah, one of the Avengers films shot like a sequence there, so they tend to not really like people having like huge bulks. So we were given a 2-day grace period, but we ended up having to expand to 4 because we couldn't fit everything in. So they were fairly, receptive to having us there. One thing that was annoying though is that if there's any sort of public events going on, they don't go out of their way to inform you. So there was a charity run during the start of one of our shoots on one of the days, and there was so many people just running through our set, and we had to like stop filming, put our props away because we're shooting a western, so people have guns, so we have to put that stuff away. There was one bit where all these people were around, and my actress was literally waving this gun around in the air, and we were shouting at her to tell her to put it down, because, you know, people are going to go complain, because it was a decommissioned firearm. Like, it looks real, and it is real, you just can't shoot anything with it. So...
What, the actors, were they from your unit, or were they just people that you...
No. For that project, we were essentially told in the brief that... Oh, bloody hell. We weren't allowed to use any student actors in the film. We actually had to find professional actors
so there's
at varying stages of their career or whatever to actually be in it. So we had to set out like a casting call, and we had some auditions. All the auditions were done online because obviously people from all over the place applied for them.
So and, there's a slim chance that they'll be listening to this.
Would doubt it, to be honest.
Because that was the only thing that annoyed me really watching it, was the guy.
Oh my god, yeah, he did like his accent. Well,
yeah, he just kept coming out of it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the director, and the things that George, the director, would say himself that he didn't think he directed him well.
Yeah.
But Martin's tape was actually decent. He wasn't the first choice. The guy who was expecting a baby due when we had scheduled to shoot, so he couldn't do it. So Martin was our second choice, and he was really enthusiastic. He came down from London, and his audition tape was actually fine. I never noticed anything until I arrived on set, and essentially he didn't like to break character. He stayed in character the whole day, even when we weren't filming, and when he went back home to George's and had dinner, he would still talk in the accent.
Really?
The accent never really improved by him doing this. He spoke like this the whole time. He was very enthusiastic, and as much as I really don't like the accent, and I had to hear his voice so much when I was editing, he is a very good facial actor. He's very good at emoting.
Yeah, I did think that. I did think he...
Yeah.
Even when he wasn't saying anything, his expressions were good, yeah.
He's really good at strong expressions. It's very easy to read his face. But I feel if I ever was to work with him in something else again, it would have to be him speaking in an English accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you like the female lead in it?
Yeah, she was good, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised by how decent Jasmine's voice was. And it sounds a lot better in comparison to Mark.
Oh, yeah. I don't think... Yeah. I mean, I don't think I noticed any points where her accent sort of broke.
Yeah, I thought Jasmine was pretty good in the performance, to be honest.
Yeah.
She was fairly receptive. I didn't have any issues with them. To be honest, an edit is not really supposed to be on a film set, but they dragged me out there, mainly just like help move stuff around, help set up tracks, carry equipment or whatever.
I was laughing at that end bit where, well, I won't say, but you know when what happens and then she grabs the hat and it's a light coloured hat, and I was just like, that's just so.
Well, grabs the dark hat.
Yeah, the dark hat. So yeah, it gets rid of the light hat, grabs the dark hat. It's like that's like almost so by the Western book. Yes,
when we were basically doing this film, our teacher's not actually that good, to be honest, but he was very much like, I love Westerns, you have to make sure that you make this convey a lot of the typical like Western connotations.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you do them. So we did like loads of the wide shots. We made sure that when we got the music done, my Norwegian mate Christopher did the music for the film. We had to make sure that, you know, it sounded like it was from a Western. We had to make the New Forest look like it was a Western. So a lot of that is actually colour correction, but we had to find decent looking landscapes around the place that were conveniently, you know, looked like they could be somewhere in... Where did we set the film? I believe it's set in California.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, so it had to look like it was set in California in like the 19th. When do we set it? I think it was in the 19th century. Yeah.
Yeah, it did look good. I liked the soundtrack, and there were some really good shots as well. Like there was one that we were saying, because I watched it with Rosie, and we were saying that did you use a crane for it, like coming down?
Oh no, we actually had the girl who did the sound for our film, like the recording of dialogue. Her dad don't know if he still works at the BBC, but he used to at some point, and he's a licensed drone pilot. So he used his I can't remember the name of the drone that he has, but it's a very, very good one, and he essentially was flying the drone around. That's also another problem we had to deal with, because you need drone licenses. You need a professional like licensed drone pilot, and you need to have permission to fly a drone in the area as well, which is another problem we had to deal with. But yeah, no, he used a drone for that. The issue is that all the cameras, I don't know if you noticed it, there's 4 or 5 cameras used in that film, and they all capture light differently, and I had to match them up. That was the most annoying thing about the editing.
No, I didn't notice anything.
You don't. It's for somebody who doesn't realise it, they don't see it. But when I watch it, I can tell which camera was used in what scene.
Yeah.
And I could tell you what the shot originally looked like before I colour graded it, because I spent hours doing it, and because I'm working with the same people for my final unit next year, and we've all agreed we're only using one camera for this film because we can't risk not getting a match up again. But I'm glad that you thought it was decent. It's probably the best thing I've made, like in terms of production value. It's definitely like the best thing I've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you even want to watch it, Rico. I can send you the link. It's not amazing, but it's just,
Oh, mate, I've made my fair share of shit uni movies, so I'm sure this one, the amount of work you put into this,
we spent quite a bit of money
better than anything we've done.
Like, could you see the money in it, B-Man?
Could I see what the money you put into it?
Yeah.
Well, what did you put it into? Like, what do you mean, sort of?
Like getting the costumes. Because the guns weren't cheap either. Like the big gun that my mate Don was using in the film. Like that guy's Scottish, the guy with the black hat. Could you tell?
No, I can't really remember his accent.
He's the guy with the Winchester 1886.
The guy's supposed to be. Well, she's making out he's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That gun was like 180, nearly 200 quid. That gun.
Really?
And the handguns were like 110 each.
So you actually have to buy them. You can't like just borrow them somewhere.
Oh no, you got to buy. You got well, the problem with rentals is that they're very, very picky on what days you can take them out and what condition they're brought back in. And obviously we're in the forest and we don't know if someone's going to drop the gun in something.
Yeah.
If there's any sort of damage that's going to go on, so we bought them, and we did a Indiegogo campaign, and some of the backer rewards were that they bought the guns essentially off of us.
Oh right.
So they bought the props. So all the guns got bought. I think we used a bow and arrow as well. We bought like an actual working like old school bow.
Did you ever go with it?
I did, yes, and my mates were like, "Oh, let's shoot it like somewhere around here." I was like, "We can't shoot around here because this actually could kill someone if we're not careful." Because they want to go shoot up in this area called the Common. Well, there's a lot of dog walkers and people running.
Should have just shot at a tree.
There. We did test fire it in the woods, but we had to be careful because the license that we got, I don't think covers range projectiles, unfortunately. So we had to spend money on that. Obviously, the actors were paid 50 quid a day. And we were there for 4 days, so it's 200 quid each. Catering was free because George's parents did it, which is nice of them. And what else did we pay? I think we paid for like them to travel. Jasmine came from Liverpool, so we had to pay for that, and Martin came from London. And like paying train fares for everyone, because obviously I stayed at home. I didn't stay at George's, but I had to get the train at like 7 in the morning each day. And actually no, it was earlier than 7. It was like 5 or something, 5, 6. Get the train down to New Milton or whatever and start shooting. But yeah, it was a good experience. It was a decent film, got a decent grade. So overall, I'm happy with it.
It's all good.
Yeah, I can send it to you if you really do want to see it, Rico.
Yeah.
If not, no biggie.
No
I have to try and find a link to it. But yeah, it was a good film experience. I'm happy that I actually got to make something that was alright. Not the typical shite that you tend to make at uni. Because oh boy, do you make a lot of shite at uni.
Oh, there's a lot
of other shite films that other people make as well.
So for my documentary, we just left it to last minute because I was focusing on my dissertation, and I was like, I didn't give a fuck about this. We'll just do something. So it had to be handed in Friday. We just got a mate to do it. We recorded it Wednesday, filmed it Wednesday, edited it Thursday, handed it in Friday, and it only cost us £3.50 because we had to buy him a meal at Yates to come and do it. And that was it, and we ended up getting.
So what was your documentary about that you did?
It was about conspiracy theories.
Oh, okay.
So and we
You
got
got 2-1 for it, didn't
got
you?
2-1. That was it.
That makes
3
me
days.
so mad. Like
3 days.
the documentary that I made was so shite. It was so bad. Essentially, we found this guy who does loads of like free running, and we were going to do a documentary about him, but then ITV approached him and wanted him to be involved in like a show they were doing, so he couldn't do it anymore. He signed like an NDA with them. So we found out that Southampton people play Quidditch down here as an actual sport. So we made a documentary about the Southampton Quidditch team, and like the whole idea of the sport being a physical contact sport but being mixed gender as well. Well, gender inclusive. And it was a really shit documentary. Like there was hardly any effort put in by most people. It was really poorly organised, and didn't even get it handed in on time, so we got capped, which is so annoying because I was 1 point off of first this year, and that would have been my first if I just handed it in on time. Even if it was shite, would have been better than being capped at 40. But that was one of the most annoying things I made. Definitely not the shittest, but it's up there. How about you, B-Man? What did you make?
I made a. It's like it wasn't great really. It was probably the first. Yeah, it was the first proper film I made there, and it was. I'll send you. I'll find it. It must be on here somewhere, and I'll send it to you, and you can watch
Is it
it.
absolutely wank?
It's. I mean, I think
was
it's
it?
like quite.
Are you in it?
What-
Are you
what-
in
what's
it?
the- Yeah,
no,
who
no,
did
I'm
you
not in
film?
it. No.
What's the plot? What's the plot of the...
Was this
Is
the
it
one you did
documentary
out of
film?
fucking Lego pieces?
Oh no, no, that's. A different
I think
one.
I have seen that one actually. The one that you did of the Lego pieces.
Yeah, that took a lot. I forgot about that. That took so much work doing.
Was all that was loads of pictures, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Stop frame.
I just
Yeah.
remember you showing me it. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
it's like 1,400 photos or something like that.
That's mental.
Bro. So what did you do with this other one?
I feel like that's more effort than going out and just filming.
Yeah, but you don't have to move much, you know.
True.
Be lazy all your life. Fucking
But no, yeah, this other one, it's like I can't remember how I got onto the idea of it, but it's basically about like money exchanging hands between different people and what the people do with it. And
Mhm.
I can't remember what it is now, but it's like a passage from the Bible. I can't remember what it is. The
Okay.
money
no.
is the root to all evil or something. Well, I'll
No.
show you.
You
Trust
start
me,
whacking in Bible quotes. And stuff.
it's just quite a good, like, makes you think sort of thing, you know. I'll send it to you. It's only a short thing.
If it's to do with the Bible, send it to me. I'll
It's
send
not
it
to do with-
AJ.
It's not to do with the Bible. It's just
Christian Abbey, man.
using that, mate. No, not at all.
Well, what did you have to make for your end of year project? Did you not do anything like that?
No,
How
I
was
didn't
your
have
course
that.
structured?
My end thing was that Lego one.
Oh, okay.
But,
So, what did you get for this film you did with the Bible quote?
you know what? I don't even know. That was the first year. That was the foundation year.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't been doing film this year. I was doing media and creative writing.
Oh, you swapped course.
Yeah, which was miserable.
So that started you in first year again.
I didn't. I had to do a foundation year to start with, which was film and
So yeah.
photography.
So when you did when you swapped to media, did you have to do another foundation year?
Oh
or
no,
did
no,
you
no! I
Just
had.
start in first
I
year.
could then just
Okay.
go into the first year. Yeah.
Why did you
Okay.
change course?
Because I wanted to focus more on like script writing stuff and more
You could have done
TV
film.
stuff.
Did your uni not do a screenwriting unit as?
Yeah, well, there was like one unit on it in that first thing, and I would have been better off sticking with that really. But I just wanted to, because it seemed like the other one was a bit more focused towards TV, and like from that as well, you could go into like writing for games as well as like TV or movies and
Okay.
whatever. But yeah, it was absolutely rubbish and miserable year.
What, media and creative writing?
Lots of presentations and reading academic writing, like 20 pages of it, just trying to read the same sentence again and again, not going in.
No.
I hate academic writing.
Presentations aren't necessarily great. But you know.
I think they're so useful because obviously I've had so many throughout 3 years, I've had presentations pretty much every unit. I've had to give lectures and stuff.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was just like a normal thing. I wasn't that bothered. But then obviously, this job I got recently, that all the presentations have come into that, and I just went into it, and I felt so confident. And it was just, when I look back on it, it was actually from an accumulation of 3 years of having presentations, having to give seminars, having to give speeches, and it all comes back into it. So
Yeah.
as much as you may not realise it now, it's all life skills, and it is useful. So don't feel like, it's been a waste of a year, really. I wouldn't look at it that
No,
way.
no, I have learned
you did
things.
get something from it. You do learn
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
even if
of course, yeah.
you might enjoy the year, or actually, take anything from the unit itself. The act of doing the unit itself is like the experience.
I think the main problem is you just got to stop being such a pussy, to be honest. Alright, should we end
There's
there?
that, but,
Yeah, this is a long one, isn't it?
We're in an hour and a half,
Whoa.
boys.
Hour and a half.
let's just wind this down. Are we gonna...
So I reckon we should just end it with Adam telling us a short story.
Alright, Adam, give us one of your theories of Game of Thrones.